Yo, check this out. Yo, what's good, YouTube? So it's a Sunday afternoon. I decided to come out here to one of the hiking trails in San Jose and just get some fresh air and give you guys a video on a question that I think a lot of people have been kind of curious about, and that's how do you run and manage a YouTube channel when you have a full-time job? I know there's probably some of you guys out there that are probably thinking the same thing. You know, you've always wanted to start a channel, but you've got a 9-to-5, you've got kids and family and all these other commitments, and wanted to kind of give you guys my own personal experience on it, you know, what I've learned so far and what you need to do to put yourself in the best position to be successful. So yeah, let's start with number one. The first thing that I'll say is that you gotta find and make time. This YouTube journey, I'll be honest with you, it's a commitment. And if you don't plan and you don't find time throughout the day or throughout the week, then you're gonna be very inconsistent and you're gonna get discouraged and you're gonna quit. And so one of the things that I've done is there's times throughout the day, for example, like right now, you know, I'm just hiking by myself and there's not a lot of people else around me. Decided to, hey, you know, bring out the camera, you know, pop out the tripod and film some content. There's other times when you guys have seen some of my videos where I film in the car, where I'm literally commuting to work or I'm coming back home after a long day, and I figure, hey, might as well, you know, if I'm gonna be stuck in traffic, flex my creativity brain a little bit. So I think the same thing applies, is that you gotta find time throughout the day, whether it's in the morning or late in the evening. You know, everyone's gonna be a little bit different, but find a time that works for you, stick to it, be consistent, and yeah, just block out that time. You know, tell your friends and tell your family, your partner, that this is a time where you've gotta get on your grind and just make that commitment. The second thing that I'll kind of share with you guys is you gotta try to optimize your workflow as much as possible. You know, for a lot of us new creators, we don't have the budget, we don't have the expertise and also the help around us to do our editing or to work on our descriptions and our thumbnails. And you got to optimize your workflow as much as possible. I remember when I first started out, it was pretty simple. And I'd say my videos today are still pretty simple as it is, but I've saved a lot of time using different software. Shout out to Descript for now being my new editing tool of choice, where you can pretty much transcribe audio to text and then edit that way, and that saved me a lot of time. But there's a lot of different tricks out there, and I'm not going to go into all the details, where you can really optimize your workflow and reduce the amount of time that you have to spend, you know, editing your content, creating your thumbnails, doing all that good stuff. So, you know, spend some time figuring out, you know, depending on what kind of content you're creating, figure out a way to really automate and optimize your workflow so that you could spend more time on creating the content that you love. One of the things that I've also done is, you know, just batching. And batching is the idea of, you know, creating a bunch of different content at once, so you don't have to do it every single day. And so there's times throughout the week where if I have a good 2 or 3 hours of free time, you know, I'll go ahead and, you know, film 4 or 5 different clips and then edit them throughout the week. Now, the third thing, by the way, we're in a really nice spot. It's pretty nice out here. It's beautiful. There's not a lot of people, no animals, not a lot of animals. Weather is great. You know, what else can you ask for? No, but the third thing that I'll give you guys a little bit of a tip is to really plan this out. I remember when I first started out my channel, I didn't really have too many ambitions and I didn't really know exactly where I was going. But after about a month or two, I was like, okay, I can see there's a little bit of traction here, and I think this is something I can invest more time into. So what I did was I planned it out and saying, okay, for the first year, I'm really just going to experiment as much as possible. I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes. I'm gonna put out stuff to see if it sticks, and if it doesn't, pivot. And that's what I've been doing so far. You know, I really see year one of this entire journey as one of experimentation, where I can take the learnings and the things that work and really double down on them in year two. And that's sort of the plan. And so my encouragement to you guys would be, you know, to plan out your YouTube journey. You know, whether it's 1 year, whether it's 2 years, or multiple years, multiple months. You know, some of you guys might be on a fast track and you might have a lot more time available where you can kind of condense that timeline. But you definitely want to plan things out and say, hey, this is what I want to do in the first 6 months, the next year, so on and so forth. You know, obviously you want to be flexible where you can adjust and modify that plan and roadmap if you need to, but have something in place and plan this out, just like having a business. You know, you want a business plan, otherwise your business is going to be doomed to fail. So you want to make sure that you spend some time on it. All right, now my fourth tip for you guys, when you're starting out your channel and you're trying to figure out how to balance it with your commitments, is to try to find a network with other content creators in your space, or even those outside of your space. You know, you can learn so much from other people, and over the past year, I've been able to find other people and bounce ideas, you know, take best practices, learn from their mistakes, and also just give back to other people. And that's going to help you avoid a lot of mistakes and learn quicker. You know, this YouTube journey can be a little bit lonely at times, but don't isolate yourself. And don't be a lone wolf and think that, oh, I'm just going to go on this journey solo and try to figure everything out by yourself. I mean, you can do that, don't get me wrong. And, you know, for me, I'm an introvert personally, and I don't really like putting myself out there too much or trying to reach out to people and ask them for help or ask them for, you know, tips and things like that. But, you know, I've also had to kind of put my pride and ego to the side and say, hey, I don't know what I don't know. I want to get better. Can you guys help a brother out? And, you know, it's something that I'm going to try to do a lot more of in the second half of my YouTube journey and even next year. And, you know, something I want to continue doing. So my tip is don't be on an island. Seek others out, network, collaborate, and also just pay it forward. You know, if someone reaches out to you and they're asking for help and they're a smaller channel or whatever, you know, don't think that they're below you or anything like that. You know, give back, man. Spend some time with them. You know, share what you've learned and just continue to give back, and you know, it'll come around. Now, the last tip that I'll give you guys is, you know, sometimes it's really hard to come up with ideas. You know, there's times when I get writer's block and I'm like, okay, what do I talk about next? You know, how many times can I recycle the same topic or adjust it slightly? And I guess one of the things I've discovered that really applies in my domain in the space of tech and business and career advice is to use content that people have already created. So for example, I think you've seen on my videos a lot of articles or videos mentioned by sites like LinkedIn. There's LinkedIn, there's Blind, there's Wall Street Journal, and maybe a few others that I haven't mentioned. But you know, those are great sources of content. And whether you're doing like a reaction channel or original content or something completely different, you know, just know that there's other resources out there, and that you don't have to always try to come up with new ideas by yourself, because one, it's not feasible. Two, it's super exhausting, and it's just not an efficient use of your time. Anyways, guys, those are some of my tips for starting out a channel when you have a full-time job and other commitments. I know it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to make sacrifices, but long term, you know, I think this can be a viable hobby, or maybe even a business if you stay consistent enough and get a little bit of luck. Drop a comment down below if you have questions, or if you want to leave a comment for your fellow community members. And yeah, best of luck in your journey. We'll catch you guys in the next one.